Good morning, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna. Today I'll start chapter 6 of Bhagwad Gita, which is Dhyana Yoga, means yoga of meditation. I will briefly explain about Dhyana Yoga and recite verses 1 to 22, explaining its meaning. In this chapter, Sri Krishna continues the comparative evolution of Karma Yoga, means practicing spirituality while continuing the worldly duties, and Karma Sannyas from chapter 5, which is practicing spirituality in the renounced order, and recommends the former. Through meditation, yogis strive to conquer the mind, for while the untrained mind is the worst enemy, the trained mind is the best friend. Sri Krishna cautions Arjuna that one cannot attain success on the spiritual path by engaging in severe austerities, and hence one must temper it in eating, work, recreation, and sleep. Krishna then explains the sadhana for uniting the mind with God. Just as a lamp in the windless place does not flicker, likewise, sadhak must hold the mind steady in meditation. The mind is indeed difficult to restrain, but the practice and detachment, it can be controlled. So, wherever it wanders, one should bring it back and continually focus it upon God. When the mind gets purified, it becomes established in transcendence. In that joyous state called samadhi, one experiences boundless divine bliss. Arjuna then questions Sri Krishna about the fate of the aspirant who begins on the path but is unable to reach the goal due to an unsteady mind. Sri Krishna reassures him that one who strives for God realization is never overcome by evil. God always keeps account of our spiritual merits accumulated in previous lives and reawakens that wisdom in future births, so that we may continue the journey from where we had left off. With the accrued merits of many past lives, yogis are able to reach God in their present life itself. The chapter concludes with a declaration that the yogi, one who strives to unite with God, is superior to the tapasvi, means ascetic, the jnani, the person of learning, and the karmi, ritualistic performer. And amongst all yogis, one who engages in bhakti, means loving devotion to God, is the highest of all. Verses 1 to 22. Shri Bhagwana Uvacha Anashritah karma phalam karya karma karoti yaha sasannyasi cha yogi jana nirgina chakriyah yam sannyasami panur yogam ta vitti pandava na hansasyasta sankalpo yogi bhavati kaschana arurukshorbune yogam karma karanamuchyate yoga rudasya tamisvam samah karanamuchyate yada hi nendriyeshu na karma swapujyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yoga rudasastadochyate. Utthoretatmanamam natmanam vasadayet atmaiva brahmano bandhura atmaiva ripu ratmanah bandhur atman tastasya yenatmai vatmana jitah anatmanastu satruve vartetatmaiva satruvat. चितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः शीतोष्णसुखदुः शेषु तथा मापापन्मानयोः ज्ञानविज्ञानधृतात्मा कुटस्थो विजयेन्द्रियः युक्त इच्युते योगी समलोकाश्मकाश्चनः शुहन्मित्रायुदार्शेन अत्ययसस्ते बन्धुषु साधुत्वपि च पापेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते योगी युजित सतत आत्मनं रहसि स्थितः एकाकी यति चित्तात्मा निराशीरपरिग्रहः शुचो देशे प्रतिष्ठाय स्थिरमासनमात्मनः नाच्युच्चित्ति नाति नीचं चेलाजीनकुशोत्तरम् तत्रैकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचिन्तेन्द्रियसक्रियः उपविश्यासने युद्धायो योग आत्मविशुद्धये समं कार्यशिरोग्रीवं धीरयन्नचलं स्थिरः सम्प्रयत्न नासिकाग्र स्वं दिशश्वानवलोकयनः प्रशान्तात्मा विगतं ब्रह्मचारीव्रते स्थितः मनसं संयम्य मच्चितो युग आसीत मत्परः यज्ञेव सदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः शान्तिं निर्वाण परमां मत्तं स्थानधिगच्छति नात्यश्रस्तु योगोऽस्ति न चोकान्तमनश्रुतः न चाति स्वप्नशील्यस्य जाग्रतो नैव चार्जुन युक्ताहारविहारस्य युष्टचेतस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वभावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः यदा विनियत चित्तम् आत्मनैवा विहिते निकृष्य सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इच्यते तथा दीपो निवातस्थो नेते सोपमा स्मृता योगिनो यतचित्तस्य युक्ततो योगमात्मनः यत्रोपरमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चेत्त्वात्मन भस्म आत्मनि तुष्यति सुखम् आत्यन्तिकं यद्बुद्धिग्राह्य अति इन्द्रियं वेत्रियन चैवायं स्थितचलन्ति तत्त्वः यं लब्ध्वा च परं लाभं मन्यते नाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचल्यते which means the Supreme Lord said, those who perform prescribed duties without desiring the results of their actions are actual sannyasas and yogis, not those who have merely ceased performing sacrifices such as Agni, Hatra, or abandoned bodily activities. What is known as sannyasa is non-different from yoga, for none become yogis without renouncing worldly desires. To the soul who is aspiring for perfection in yoga, work without attachment is said to be the means. To the sage who is already elevated in yoga, tranquility in meditation is said to be the means. When one is neither attached to sense objects nor to actions, that person is said to be elevated in the science of yoga, for having renounced all desires for the fruits of actions. Elevate yourself through the power of your mind and not degrade yourself, for the mind can be the friend and also enemy of the self. For those who have conquered the mind, it is their friend. For those who have failed to do so, the mind works like enemy. The yogis who have conquered the mind rise above the dualities of cold and heat, joy and sorrow, honor and dishonor. Such yogis remain peaceful and steadfast in their devotion to God. The yogi who are satisfied by knowledge and discrimination and have conquered their senses remain undisturbed in all circumstances. They see everything, dirt, stones, and gold, as same. The yogis upon all, well-wishers, friends, foes, the pious and the sinners, with an impartial intellect. The yogi who is of equal intellect toward friend, companion, and a foe, neutral among enemies and relatives, and impartial between the righteous and sinful, is considered to be distinguished among humans. Those who seek the state of yoga should reside in seclusion, constantly engaged in meditation with a controlled mind and body, getting rid of desires and possessions for enjoyment. To practice yoga, one should make an asana, means sit, in a sanctified place by placing kush, means grass, and a cloth one over the other. The asana should neither be too high nor too low. Seated firmly on it, the yogi should strive to purify the mind by focusing in meditation with one-pointed concentration, controlling all thoughts and activities. He must hold the body, neck, and head firmly in straight line and gaze at the tip of the nose without allowing the eyes to wander. Thus, with a serene, fearless, and unwavering mind, and staunch in the vow of celibacy, the vigilant yogi should meditate on me, having me alone as the supreme goal. Thus, constantly keeping the mind absorbed in me, the yogi of disciplined mind attains nirvana and abides in me in supreme peace. O Arjuna, those who eat too much of or eat too little, sleep too much or too little, cannot attain success in yoga. But those who are temperate in eating and recreation, balanced in work, and regulated in sleep can mitigate all sorrows by practicing yoga. With thorough discipline, they learn to withdraw the mind from selfish cravings and rivet it on unsurpassable good of self. Such persons are said to be in yoga and are free from all yearning of the senses. Just as a lamp in a windless place does not flicker, so the disciplined mind of a yogi remains steady in meditation on the self. When the mind, restrained from material activities, becomes still by the practice of yoga, then the yogi is able to behold the soul through the purified mind, and he rejoices in the inner joy. In that joyous state of yoga called samadhi, one experiences supreme boundless divine bliss, and thus situated, one never deviates from the eternal truth. Having gained that state, one does not consider any attainment to be greater. Being thus established, one is not shaken even in midst of greatest calamity. अथ श्रीमद् भगवद गीता षष्ठ ध्यान योगा अध्याये द्वाविंशतितमं श्लोकं सम्पूर्णम्. Namaste.